ladies and gentlemen, I'm Belmont. Welcome back to Power Vacuum. Today's episode is going to be a classic ramblin' rant, and the origin of this episode is because I've had several of my friends and one of my followers ask me about whether or not I'm going to see JOKER Folie à Deux, I believe is how they're pronouncing it, or Joker 2. And in short, the answer is no, but I'm going to go into great detail about why I'm not going to see it. I will start off with a little bit of a story. I'm a huge Batman fan. I have been a Batman fan since I've been a Batman fan since I was a little kid. Like, little kid because of the reruns of Adam West Batman TV show, the really campy, goofy one. But I became a true hardcore fan after Tim Burton's Batman 89 movie came out. My parents took me to see it in theaters, and I instantly fell in love with the Joker and Batman. Batman is my favorite hero. The Joker is my favorite villain. That year, in 1989, I won the Fort Lauderdale annual Halloween costume contest for under 10 age group, because I was the only Joker in a sea of Batman. Like, I wanted to be the Joker for Halloween. My mom was like, "You sure that's the bad guy?" And I was like, "Yes, I'm sure. I want to wear a purple suit. I want a top hat, or whatever. He wears a wide brim hat, but I wanted to dress up like the Joker." And I went there, and it was just, every third kid was Batman because it was, the year Batman came out. And then, boom, only Joker. And I was just like, this is where I want to be. This is, look at all these fools. Look at all these stupid Batmen. I was kind of a smug kid. Irrelevant, though. I have always loved this character. And when I first saw the original Joker movie, I went to see it. And, I was a little bit hesitant because I was like, is this really going to be a Joker movie? What is the Joker without Batman? It's an origin story, and the Joker doesn't really need an origin story, but he's had like several origin stories in the past. So I can't really be like, oh, he doesn't have one, because he's had an origin story since like the 50s when he first announced that he was the villain formerly known as the Red Hood. And then that was carried on in The Killing Joke. I think Frank Miller revisited that story, and it's basically associated with the Joker's origin is he's a man that fell into a vat of chemicals. Well, the original one, I think he dove into it willingly, trying to just like run away. And it wasn't a vat of chemicals originally. It was a chemical dumping vat, which was not one specific chemical, but every chemical from was it a playing card company that they used to like dye the cards and paint the card? That was some weird origin, but he jumped into that, and that's how he became the Joker that way. And he chose the Joker because the playing card company was the reason he looked the way he did. It was kind of goofy, but that's the comic code era of comics for you, or the CCA, Comic Code Authority, I should say. But the Todd Phillips Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie, after I watched it, I was like, man, this movie's amazing. It is a 9 out of 10. It is a near perfect movie. It is a brilliant character study. It highlights the way people with severe mental illness are treated by society and by their peers. And it told a story of a descent into madness and how a man who thought he had an identity ends up not having one, because like basically he kind of gains the Jokerness with the fact that he thought he was a Fleck because his mother raised him and that was his name, but then he found out he was supposed to be adopted by he was the illegitimate child of a Wayne, so he thought he was a Wayne, but then he gets the papers and find out he's adopted from someone who abandoned him, so he had no original name. So in that sense, he doesn't have a true identity. He has no background. And I was like, okay, they're tying a lot of little things in. And then there's the fact that Todd Phillips did admit that they were just making a movie about mental illness and decided to call it the Joker because the studio let him. But he did a fairly good job. The reason I'm like it's not a perfect movie is there's a few little flaws that didn't really, connect with the story, and the main reason, the flaws, half a point off. The other half a point comes from the fact that he's the Joker in name only. And what I mean by that is I can't remember if it's a visual history of the Clown Prince of Crime or the DC Encyclopedia or Necessary Evil. One of those three, they mentioned. Well, no, it'd have to be either the Encyclopedia or the visual history. Necessary Evil's a video. It was in print because I remember reading it. DC said that there are three defining characteristics for what makes the Joker who he is, and they were listed in order in the book. They were like 1, 2, 3. They were numbered. So I'm going to recite them in the order that they listed them, and that was number 1 was paper white skin, number 2 was a purple suit, and number 3 was he kills people with Joker toxin (parentheses a lethal laughing gas). And I was like, okay, well, that's who the Joker is. According to DC Comics, that's the standard for the Joker. That now he's evolved since then. I want to say, it's got to be either a visual history or the Encyclopedia, because those are two of the books that are older that describe like the Joker in detail. Now, since like the Heath Ledger movie and whatnot, and the evolution of the comics, he has more defining characteristics like psychotic, murderous, things like that. But the original 3 defining characteristics were white skin, purple suit, Joker toxin. And Joaquin Phoenix fails on all 3 fronts. He doesn't have white skin. It's face paint. He doesn't wear a purple suit. He wears like a maroon suit or like a burgundy suit maybe. And he doesn't have any Joker toxin. He's just a man with mental illness that chose the name Joker because someone gave it to him, and he doesn't have his own identity, so he chose that as his identity. Still, love the movie. It was amazing. In fact, to date, when you look at the 3 rules of the Joker, the live action portrayal, there's only one person who ever actually met the requirements, and that is Jack Nicholson in Tim Burton's Batman 89. He wore a purple suit, he has the white skin, and he kills people with Joker toxin. Or I think they call it Smilin or Smilex in that. But, it's a lethal laughing gas. And I don't remember Cesar Romero ever killing people with the laughing gas. The animated series, he does it all the time. Brilliant. Best portrayal of the Joker, period. Mark Hamill's voice will still be the Joker that I hear in my head forever, just because one of the best portrayals of the Joker. But Jared Leto, no. I think he wore a gold suit and a black suit. I don't remember him wearing a purple suit, but then again, they cut 90% of his footage out of that movie. He did have the white skin, I guess, but he had tattoos, which doesn't make sense because his skin is bleached of pigment and tattoos are pigment. So I don't know if the Joker would actually be able to have tattoos. I know there's that one comic where he's got a dragon on his back, but that was like an Elseworlds, I think. And then Heath Ledger, 1 out of 3. He only had the purple suit. He wore face paint. He didn't use laughing gas, even though they had the ultimate opportunity with the Commissioner Lowe drinking the drink and then dying and choking, and then like the drink on the cup like turned into a gas as it was like evaporating out. They should have had that guy laugh himself to death, like right there. They could have gotten to where it would have been the Joker in more than just name, because Heath Ledger, Joker in name, Jared Leto, Joker in name, Joaquin Phoenix, Joker in name. Jack Nicholson's the only live action Joker that's done it, and I've never watched Gotham because I don't care about the least successful police force in fiction history, because that's what the Gotham PD are, the least successful police force in fiction history. Right? If it weren't for Batman, Gotham would be a hellish nightmare. I mean, it almost is a hellish nightmare, and they have Batman. Imagine Gotham without Batman. It'd be so much worse. But Folie à Deux. The main reasons I'm not going to see it. One, the Joker was an almost perfect movie. Didn't merit a sequel. Doesn't need one. The ending's brilliant. The movie was brilliant. It doesn't need a sequel. That movie stands on its own. It is amazing and fantastic and timeless. You can watch it whenever. It doesn't need anything else, right? It didn't need a sequel. That's a major fact. Two, the second reason, it's a damn musical. And I'm not a big fan of musicals. I can tolerate them to an extent, but I do not like jukebox musicals. And a jukebox musical, Jesus. A jukebox musical is when they take already established songs and just cover them. And the characters sing them or they tie them to moments. If I'm going to enjoy a musical, it needs to be fascinating and original, or like tongue-in-cheek hilarious. Like Repo the Genetic Opera. I can handle that. It's original, fascinating, and tongue-in-cheek hilarious. You know, Zydrate comes in a little glass vial. That shit was hilarious to me. Dr. Horrible's Sing-Along Blog. A total parody of musicals and supervillains and superheroes. And I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. I like that. I guess I've recently seen The Wizard of Oz because, you know, my lady was like, you haven't watched this movie. You have to watch this movie. And I'm like, no, I've never watched this movie. I've never watched The Wizard of Oz. It was okay. It's old. I'll say that. The sets were great, but, you know, not a huge fan of musicals, especially not ones that are just a series of cover songs. The third reason I don't want to watch it is because I don't like Lady Gaga as an actress. Is she a great musician? Yeah. Is she talented as a musician? Yeah. Is she a talented actress? Not in my opinion. No. I've seen American Horror Story. I thought her acting was... I mean, I felt like a mannequin with a speaker attached to it and somebody reading lines off a cue card could do the same job that she did. I don't find her delivery or her ability in the acting field to be up to snuff for a major motion picture. And I get it. A lot of people go, well, you know, she won an Oscar in A Star is Born. And my rebuttal to that argument is that a woman that aspired to be a musician, playing a character that aspires to be a musician, doesn't require acting. That's more of emulation, or I don't know. But having her play somebody that's similar to herself isn't acting. That's like saying Eminem was a good actor in 8 Mile. No, he was telling his own story. He didn't have to act. That's him. That's who he is. Lady Gaga playing a character of an aspiring musician in A Star is Born isn't acting. That's her. That's who she was. That'd be like asking me to play a dude that loves comic books and video games in a movie. That wouldn't require any acting. That'd be like, just, hey, come on set, be yourself. Okay, yeah. And then people being like, dude, you were a really good actor in that movie, man. You loved comics, you loved video games, you knew what you were talking about. And it's like, yeah, that's who I am. That wouldn't be acting for me. That would be me just being myself in front of a camera. Not difficult. Doesn't require effort. Doesn't require the moment. As some actors call it, you got to be in the moment. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but that's like a thing on stage, at least. I don't know if they use that in Hollywood or in cameras. But I didn't like that. And then the other thing I didn't like is that she's supposed to be portraying Harley Quinn, and they just completely character assassinated her, like, in every way possible. She's not a doctor, from what I've heard, right? So she's not somebody that's treating the Joker and falls in love with the personality because of his lies that he deceives her with. So she's not that brilliant doctor. She's not going to wear any kind of Harlequin or like actual clown paraphernalia that doesn't mimic the Joker. She doesn't have like her own identity. She's just like kind of like a part of his identity. And she's not going to have the Brooklyn accent. And that's because Lady Gaga can't act and probably can't do a Brooklyn accent. But when like everything that makes Harley Quinn is taken away, it's like, okay, well, so she's not Harley Quinn. And like I said, Joaquin Phoenix, Joker in name only. So Lady Gaga, probably Harley Quinn in name only, but I don't want that. I don't need that. And I don't see this going anywhere good for me. And the movie title is just pretentious as all hell. So is this movie going to be pretentious? From what I've seen of early reviews, it's like a lot of nothing. Like it's a very, very slow-paced movie. And the action takes place in like all like the last 20 minutes from what I heard. And I have no interest. I have no interest. I like Joaquin Phoenix. I like Todd Phillips to an extent, I should say. I've only ever seen the first Hangover movie. I've never seen the other one, so I haven't really versed myself with him. He did an amazing job with Joker, which a lot of people tell me, it's just like the king of comedy. And it's yes and no. The king of comedy was more in your face than the Joker was. The Joker was more in your mind. But I just don't see this movie being something I would be interested in. And I might watch it when it comes out on streaming. But I'm definitely not going to the theaters. I have no interest. None whatsoever. They have not convinced me, and I do not know if I would even enjoy it. I don't think I would, because again, Lady Gaga is going to be heavy on Lady Gaga. I don't know if her and Joaquin are going to have the right chemistry. I guess only time will tell, but yeah, that's my take. Those are my ramblings, and that's the end of my rant. And that's all I have for this video. Belmont out.